I had been so unconsciously resistant of the divine feminine in my life. And this is a big part of what you and I are being initiated into with Mary Magdalene this year. We are choosing to no longer hate ourselves for the beauty of the divine feminine within us and within one another. And that includes men, that includes non-binary individuals. The divine feminine, that term, divine feminine Christ consciousness, represents principles, rays of the consciousness of God that carry specific frequencies such as magnetism, receptivity, beauty, elegance, grace, multidimensionality, the ability to multitask, the ability to live consciously in multiple dimensions, consciously and simultaneously and with great presence. When we're talking about the divine feminine, we're talking about our greatest, most expansive and unlimited potential to birth, create, and nurture anything that we put our minds and our hearts to. The divine masculine principles that exist, again, within all genders, and people who do not identify with one gender, these principles exist within us as well. And the divine masculine principles are here to support, protect, and serve these divine feminine principles, birthing and creating a new world. So they're both needed. They're both equally holy and perfect, and they complement each other in such a way that the alchemy that arises when we allow for the divine masculine within us to serve the divine feminine of our mystery, our mystery, the mysteries within us, but also the ministry of the divine feminine mysteries within us. What happens is that we are able to step into the totality of our sovereign divinity and become the fullness of our humanity. The divine feminine movement is a human movement. It's a movement towards sovereignty. It's a movement towards breaking the shackles of the ideas that religions have taught us over centuries, that we have to placate to God outside of us to somehow make up for some sinful nature. And that is just simply not true. There's nothing sinful about you. You may have learning experiences where you behave in a way that you wish you didn't, but even that is perfect. Even that is somehow woven into not just your own evolution, but everybody else's evolution simultaneously. And so when we invite the presence of Mary Magdalene and the entire order of Magdalena into ceremony with us, what we're saying is, I am ready to accept the totality of my divinity and nothing less than that. I will no longer bow my head in shame for being beautiful, talented, gifted, directly connected to God, intuitive, psychic, loving, brilliant, shiny. It's like all of those qualities exist within each and every one of us, and yet so much about our current patriarchal paradigm on this planet is built to crush that divine feminine spirit within us. So if we want to reconcile with how humanity needs to heal over the next 10 to 20 years so that we can truly usher in this golden age, what we need to get real with is that there isn't a healing without the reconciliation with the divine feminine first, principles within us, and then as we activate and allow ourselves to blossom, radiate, lifting our wings up and saying, this is who we are. This is who we are in our totality. From that space, then we get to decide how the divine masculine within us is going to serve that brilliance and guide us in how to work together as one. Because the dark aspect of the wounded aspect of the feminine, not divine feminine, but the wounded aspect of the feminine, is for us to splinter. And it's for us to be jealous of each other or compete with one another, when the truth is we don't have the luxury of being jealous or competing with each other anymore. We need to work together, like worker bees for Sophia. We have a great mission ahead of us, and all of the great divine feminine masters always work together in their community and as a team with one another. They understood that many, many hands and many hearts were required for the prayer that God is praying over each and every one of us to be answered through us. So there is no one I can think of that's more perfect of a role model for us this year than our Divine Feminine Ascended Master Mentor, beautiful Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene was unapologetically a superstar in her lifetime. As many of you have read about in chapter 10, she was absolutely a creative genius. She was stunningly physically gorgeous. She off the chart psychic. She was an incredible oracle, and not just oracle of like the easy realms. She was an oracle of Sekhmet, Kali Ma. These are radical, as well as Dakini energies, radical streams of consciousness that go right into the heart of darkness and blast the darkness open with fierce love and light, with truth, authentic truth, courage, faith. Mary Magdalene embodied a divine feminine Christ consciousness that held the bar here and asked everyone to raise up to that bar with her. She refused to drop down from that bar. And one of her best friends was Jesus, and she taught side by side with him at a time where she could have been stoned to death for speaking in publicly the way that she was. She was so adept to her magi training, her mystery school training. The crystalline light that poured through her was so pure that literally the fabric of reality would shift as soon as she would walk into a room or into a field. People became almost spellbound by the invitation that she was embodying for us to go within and access the very best of us, the very best of our true selves, which is our divinity. We behave badly when we do not believe we are divine. We crouch over ourselves and we shake with shame when we believe that we are not, when we believe we've missed out on being divine. And when the wings of Mary Magdalene arrived, both in her lifetime on earth and here right now in this ceremony, the power of her sacred heart and the power of her wings peeled back the layers, those dark layers of our illusions, and we all have them. They very often they're very unconscious. There's many, many layers to wounding. We are clearing so many wounds from so many lifetimes right now. But when she walks into the room as your spiritual guide and mentor, literally it's like layer after layer of darkness can no longer abide. It just begins to peel back. And she's so patient and generous in her mentorship. She can walk you through with great compassion all of the steps that are required for you to not only receive her healing, but then to take action and to step into more of your true self. So when we're mentoring with Mary Magdalene, you're going to feel after a while, just like with Isis was a huge mentor for Mary Magdalene. You're going to feel as though you're continually invited to be a way shower for others, because that's what Mary Magdalene embodied her entire life. Even from childhood, she was training for her role as master teacher by Jesus' side. Children started their training by the age of 3 in ancient mystery schools, and that was no exception for Mary Magdalene. She was raised in a very spiritually oriented family that was not afraid to, in the privacy of their own home, worship the divine feminine within themselves. So she had been preparing her whole life for her role in her ministry. And when you invoke Mary Magdalene as a mentor, you're invoking that same presence within yourself to begin to awaken, to walk with pride, but in who you are, but not in an egotistical way, in a way of understanding that how worthy you are of who you are, which then humbles you to understand that everyone has been given that same level of sovereign divinity, and you are here to mirror back to them that same message that Mary Magdalene is mirroring to you in all of her beauty and all of her grace. So which way do you want me to go? You want me to talk about that first? Okay. So this is an interesting moment in humanity's history. Mary Magdalene is sharing with me that it's important to talk about the angelic war that we are actually in the middle of on this planet. There are many things that can be said about what this planet is and who this planet is. And depending on someone's perspective, it can all be true. But what I do want to share about this planet, which is so evident, if you just take some time and drop in with it, is that Sophia Gaia, which is the oversoul of this earth, is a magnificent divine feminine Christ soul. And her manifestation of this planet is considered a jewel in the multiverse, in the cosmos. To attempt to explain how God feels about this planet, how Sophia feels about this planet, it's almost impossible to describe, but I'm sending you that feeling from my heart. It would be like the most devoted love affair, like that goes on for centuries and pound centuries. It is truly a relationship of the beloved and the friend, as Rumi would talk about. And what's so interesting about Sophia Gaia is that she's so powerful, as we learn about it in Green Tara's chapter, that she allows for all of these species to come and learn about their ascension, learn about their personal evolution while living here within her body. Because the entire ecosystem is literally the body of Sophia Gaia. We are currently, as we all know, facing multiple global crises in our ecosystem right now. Half of the world's species no longer with us. That's as recent as 20 years ago. Right up to like this week as we watch the Arctic meltdown. We are living at a time of geoengineering, little to no monitoring of how artificial intelligence is being developed, little to no monitoring of how nanotechnology and genetic mutations are, perpetuated genetic mutations, as well as transhumanism is being developed. Technology and the organic fabric of our humanity there's a very clear agenda for that to merge as quickly as possible. And there's literally, an entire war against humanity and how, with weather engineering and disasters that are taking out entire towns, populations, engineered viruses being spread all over the world. Don't want to be a downer, but this is a really real time. Okay? This is the time where we decide, okay, I get it. I'm here to enjoy my life, but I cannot not become involved. So, not to mention what's driving that behind the scenes. And it's a lot of black magic, satanic ritual that is literally interwoven into the fabric of every major national government on this planet. We also have the issue that because there's free will here on this planet, many, many species can be here. Many species that you don't usually see with your eyes, but they are cohabitating on this planet with us. Both within the planet and on the surface of the planet. Ultimately, this planet is so beautiful and has so many resources. There has been a very powerful war that has been going on for centuries over how these resources, how the beauty of this planet, as well as how humanity is going to evolve for quite some time. And we've reached here at this moment, we've reached a pinnacle point of polarity where the darkness has never been darker and yet the light is growing so bright simultaneously. Why would I start off this ceremony with that kind of a conversation? Because it's essential to understand, if you really want to mentor with ascended masters such as Mary Magdalene, they are aware of these huge, massive global crises that are happening every moment of every day, because they're constantly working in the higher realms to help as many light workers as possible make a difference here, so that we can step outside of the need for such an extreme polarity to wake us up. If you ask yourself again and again, why is there so much evil in this world? Why is there so much darkness? How could God allow this? Sophia, God gave us free will. That is the only way to know how unconditionally loved you are. If Sophia, God made you a robot, there's no way you could actually have a two-way line of communication, of communion with your divinity. There's no way that you could actually eventually wake up and understand that you are God in human flesh. So often in our Christian traditional theology, the thought of we're taught that angels have no free will, and that's simply not true. Every being that Sophia has created has been given free will. Why would she do it any otherwise? That wouldn't be an all-loving, unconditionally loving source, God. So that free will piece is so huge here, because it means there's anything goes here. And with that said, it also means when you decide to open your eyes and open your ears, you identify, whoa, what a place to step into my mastery. What an extraordinary school in this universe to flex my muscles and see how much my angel wings can make it, see exactly what the medicine of my angel wings can do in a world such as this. And so for centuries, we've explored the oppression of patriarchal darkness upon our divine feminine faculties, so that those pressurized confrontations and oppression literally creates a boiling point where you finally bust out and you say, enough. I realized that I'm meant to be as powerful, as beautiful, as gifted, as talented, as intelligent as I really am. Not only that, I need to go do something amazing with it. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. I've got things to do. I've got new solutions to birth. I've got places to be on this planet to bring the most love, the most consciousness, the most fun. Get out of my way, darkness. But so often we're conditioned to cower from the darkness. Oh, I don't know if I can handle talking about what's really going on with that, with rape, trafficking, or geoengineering. And it's just like, if you're approaching it from Christ consciousness, which is, thank you, darkness, for initiating me into the totality of my leadership and how I came here to shine the greatest light amidst the greatest darkness. From that space, your wings lift up and you identify, eventually you'll identify, oh my God, I'm part of the reason why the darkness is here, because I needed it as my teacher. So, a big part of this ceremony is, are you ready to step into your leadership without the darkness putting a boot on your neck to do so? Are you ready to step into your brilliance and open your wings this year without the darkness pinning you to the wall to frighten the heck out of you to see if those angel wings are going to pop out? You see where I'm going here? We've got to take the X factor of being oppressed or punished for who we are out of the equation so that we can step into the elegant equation of divine feminine Christ leadership that shines just because it's a get to, so that we can just get over it and get into it. This is the get to. This is what I came here to share. The end of our attachments to suffering. Now, if you're expecting, humanity to understand where you're going with that, chances are good, most of them won't. But what did Jesus teach? Jesus taught that you're here to share the message of that good news with the people that are ready to hear it, the people that want to receive the medicine of your angelic light, without the attachments to having it be a struggle with darkness. It's just really amazing to me how unconsciously addicted we are to the drama of darkness. We've been so entrained to marvel at it through our entertainment and social media. But there is nothing more spellbinding for me than the light of our divinity, the light of Sophia God, because anything and everything arises from it. And we've been gifted this incredible ability to weave that light into whatever we want. When you begin to accept that you are an earth angel, that you've come here to weave, to tend to nurture, and to literally birth out of your body and parent a new paradigm of solutions and creations, containers of consciousness, all of that drama becomes increasingly dull, like a dull, weird background noise, and then eventually it just disappears. You'll usually start to identify this when you crave certain foods or certain media, certain music, even certain ways that you dress or treat your body start to simply fade away, because you're far more curious about what your light within you and the light of divinity wants to create through you. So a lot of what's being perpetuated from against humanity, against the